We're going live now. Fuck it. Hey guys.
I didn't miss anything.
If you see this, I am so sorry, bud.
Dang, that was good shit too, man.
Oh, I know. So we're gonna try and do this real quick. I'm gonna play the intro, and hopefully I don't fuck this up any more than I already have. Hello, let's try this again. Okay, so we actually started this show about 20 minutes ago and didn't realize we didn't actually click go live. So
it was good shit too, y'all. And it's not going to happen again with me and Kory.
The Patreon.
We're going to have to like reset our brains or something because we've just been talking about Children of the Corn for 20 minutes to nobody.
Oh boy. All right. So
it's cool, man. We'll get it back. They don't even know it's fresh to them. It's just for us, man. We got to remember that.
All right, so let's try this again. Saying hi to everybody in the chat. Blu-rays, how you doing? Cliff Booth, you don't know this, but we've already said hi to you.
And talked about Perusa.
And same with Dirk McGurk.
All right, well, hold up. Now we got Jay here for this.
Yeah.
Are you Team Feruza or are you anti-Feruza?
I'm kind of in the middle.
The great debate.
I mean, is this like, as an actress, or is she attractive, or what?
Yeah, the whole thing is just about if she's hot or not.
Not now, at all.
Hey, man, last time I saw
her,
last time I saw her, she didn't look too bad. But I don't know. That might have been like 2020 or something.
I mean, she seems really cool. I'm not going to disparage the lady. Just,
Okay.
So you're just you're politely saying no, right?
Yeah. I'd like to hang out with her,
I've got a question. Is that the name of the character or is that her actual name?
That's her actual name.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Return to Oz is awesome.
And Waterboy. Let's not forget about the classic Waterboy.
The Craft.
But yeah, the Craft's the go-to that everybody I think knows her from.
I mean, she plays a great gothic bitch, doesn't she?
Yeah.
I'm not saying she's not a bad actress. I spent most of that movie watching the really hot chick. The one that ended up going good.
But for some people, Feruza is the hot chick in that movie. Just saying.
You may be right. I prefer the more classically hot chick, which we will talk about later on. Thank you.
I mean, Dan likes that lady with a dragon tattooed on her vagina. So, we can't really.
Dan likes a lot of weird shit.
I mean,
that's one of the reasons we love Dan. So
with this one though, I 100% agree. I'm
bring the hate, Cliff. Bring it.
Yeah, he might have left. Fuck these guys.
Yeah, they're never gonna start this show.
He was aging like Feruza 20 minutes ago.
Well, so what else did we talk about before we got into Children of the Corn?
I mean, I think I was fucking dissing on everybody because this is Children of the Corn and nobody shows, dude. And Jess Graham suggests it and then bails, man. That's cold blooded.
I will give him a pass. He's got a
Nah.
legitimate reason for bailing
Yeah,
tonight.
I'm just
but
joking about that, but
He, it was his pick. God love him.
this franchise deserves better than that, man.
Well, let's see if we can't give it
I
our
agree
best
with that,
shot
Chris.
here. And all right, so let's go ahead. We'll start with Jay this time.
Okay.
So
First one I didn't watch for this show. I watched 3, 4, 5, and 6 is all the time I had. I wanted to watch more, but just wanted to freshen up on some of those.
So you only watched one good movie?
Yeah. But, yeah, I mean, the first movie, it's, it obviously lays all the groundwork, Stephen King, short story, all that good stuff. It's not a bad movie at all. It's just not something I particularly want to go back and watch again. I've seen it so many times. I just feel like it's kind of played out, but it is one of the only ones in the series that I've seen that it's actually evil kids. There's not as much like other paranormal stuff going on, if I remember correctly. It's just like kids killing people, right?
Well, except for the end.
yeah,
But yeah, no, I think it's fine. It's not something I really want to go back and watch again. But yeah, it's not a bad movie at all.
all right. Jay, do you remember the first time you seen it?
And no, I probably saw a bunch of the sequels before I saw the first one. That's how I usually did things back in the day.
All right.
Renting random stuff.
So before we hit go live, Chris and I had already talked about this. Chris doesn't remember either. I, on the other hand, do remember the first time I seen this movie. I have an aunt who was like the first person to get cable. She was, first person to get HBO and Cinemax, stuff like that. And we had stopped by her house one night, and I had walked into the living room to get something. And as I'm turning around, the TV's on, and I see the opening scene where all the kids are killing all the adults. And I remember going back into like the kitchen where everybody else was, and I was asking, I go, "What are you guys watching?" And they're like, "Well, what is it?" So I kind of described it, and they're like, "Oh, that's Children of the Corn." So I knew what it was off the bat, but yeah, it was that opening scene kind of stuck with me. So first chance I got when I was older, I made sure I got that movie. It was I think it was one of the first horror movies I actually went out and bought, and made sure I watched it all the way through. My son and I rewatched it a couple of weeks ago, and if you get my son and I together, we get pretty goofy. So we had a ball with this movie, especially the end. The ending is fucking hilarious. Do I think it's something that it could be done now? Probably not. But seeing a full-grown man slam a car door on a pregnant teenager's head, and then just the end pops up. I mean,
Yeah.
we got a kick out of that. That was
that's what I've always said. There's so many movies with just like evil kid movies, where the kids go crazy for some reason I wouldn't have a problem with just stomping the shit out of a bunch of children, man. I did a video on it years and years ago. I watched a remake of one of these, The Children or something, but I wouldn't have a problem with it. I could take probably 10 of them. Yeah. I could grab one and just hit the others with that one.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know. Bring it on, kids.
Jay versus the demented kids or evil kids. We should.
Was this movie successful? I would imagine it probably was.
I think when I was doing some of the research, I think it said it made like 14 million or over 14 million.
So it had to have been a profit, right?
I would assume so. I mean, this is based off of a short story, and I can't get like I was watching other reviews just to see if somebody would say, and like you'd get like one person said it was like an 8-page story, somebody else would say it was like a 40-page story. So I don't know how short it was, but
I don't think I've ever read it, but I would imagine they probably had to expand on that quite a bit to make a feature-length movie.
Oh well, they'd have to expand on it quite a bit to make 11 movies, but
well, yeah, that's
But
you
it's like after the first movie though, it's completely detached from that short story, like altogether.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah. Stephen King said it was in the trivia on every one of these that I watched that he wishes that all the ones after the first one didn't exist. Which I could care less what he has to say about anything. Like, you enjoyed that paycheck in the mail, didn't you? You know.
Well, I think I've seen somewhere where like he actually held up the production for more money. Otherwise, he was going to remove his name. I don't know if that's true or not, but
He's
something I came across. So he seems to bitch about quite a few of his movies. Man. So
he likes money. So yeah, that's why you see so many sequels to his stuff.
Chris, you got any other thoughts that you could think of for the first one?
I've got a lot, man, because I think like I was saying before, like we thought we were live earlier. I feel like my perception of the movie is different than what actual perception of the movie is. The more I talk to people about it, I always thought this was just considered a classic. Like, this is like an Americana movie, you know, like it's Children of the Corn. And like talking to people, a lot of people aren't hot on it apparently. And I don't know, man. Like, the name is fucking sick. It's like one of the coolest names, Children of the Corn. Like, I don't know.
I think it's got a great premise.
The premise is I'm interested in like that religion gone bad type of shit anyway, and like demons fucking with people through religion and stuff.
Yeah.
So right there, it's got me.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad movie at all. Just let me say that. I've seen it so many times that I don't really need to watch it again. You know, but I've got a long list of movies like that for me.
Yeah.
Jay,
but like the setting too. I mean, not everybody in America, but like,
oh sure, especially
Midwest,
back then, yeah.
Midwest and over. I feel like just that setting is like very, and plus, I mean, Midwest in the fall. I've always kind of associated it with Halloween. I always
let me try to grab something real quick, guys. I got something to show you guys.
I always like grab it. Like, this is an early September like watch for me.
Yeah.
Like pretty much every year. And like, I don't know, man. It's just such a good like facilitated like allegory for religion, or even just like groups of humans in general, where it's like these kids are influenced by a demon for sure, but like they basically take power from the older people and then start falling into the same pitfalls immediately, like almost on fast forward, because they're little kids and they're stupid, you know. But like, I mean, the whole struggle between Malachi and Isaac, where Isaac is like the prophet. He's the guy with the direct line to God. But he doesn't ever do shit. He just tells people, we've got to do this and this and this, and only if you're 18 and blah, blah, blah. And like, he takes Malachi for granted, but Malachi is like the dude everybody goes to when something happens. So they all, like, without even planning, they all just kind of are already behind him. Just nobody's ever stood up to Isaac. And the second he does, and Isaac's like, pfft, and Malachi's like, no, fuck you. This is stupid and we're changing shit. Like, it's a whole, like, little facilitated, like, look at humanity almost.
Well, it's like a Brutus Caesar situation almost.
Yeah. And before when we thought we were live, I was explaining, oh, that's cool as hell.
I did get to meet Isaac and Courtney Gaines. John Franklin. Yeah. Very cool guys. Met them a couple years ago. Sorry about that, Kory.
No, you're fine. You're fine. But before, when we thought we were live, Chris and I were talking, and I gave him this really bad pun. I was writing a note down, and I went to write down confusing eschatology, and I was thinking corn-fusing eschatology. So
Very nice. Very nice.
And like I said before, eschatology, if you don't know what it means, it's the study of end times or how the world's going to end or whatever. And different religions have different beliefs, and that's their preferred eschatology. But kind of what Chris was saying earlier, I noticed when my son and I were rewatching it that it's got a very superficial Book of Revelations kind of feel to it, with, you know, he who walks behind the rose is the beast, Isaac is the Antichrist, and Malachi is the false prophet. So it's something that's I just kind of noticed, and it's kind of stuck with me for a little while. So I want to check the comments here.
But yeah, also I will say the main plot, which is the dude trying to save his wife, that is the least interesting thing about the movie. And that is a problem, I guess. I think just with me, though, the whole cult, like the inner turmoil of the cult is what really draws me in more than anything. And plus you've got the setting, the atmosphere, and like the chase scenes and shit to carry the rest of it. But like, yeah, I don't know. This has always been a classic to me, man. I've always loved this movie.
Well,
Plus, I love the ending. How it's just kind of like, well, there is a demon, and then you get that like funny ass CGI, like early CGI, like where Isaac gets like enveloped in that red shit, and then like the demon poof of smoke. I love that shit too.
How many kids do you think you could take at one time? We were talking about
their
this
age,
while you were gone, Chris.
Because I mean, some of those are big old 16-year-old farm boys. You know,
that's true. That's true. Well, let's say 10 years. 10 years.
10
old.
years old.
I can take 5. I know that. I've been jumped by all 5 of my kids. So at the same time, I know I can take 5.
I don't know, man. I feel like you could get in real trouble with 3 if they knew what they were doing and they got organized.
Yeah, but they probably don't, though.
That's true.
But these are farm children, so they probably like know a thing or two about, you know, some stuff, not like city kids.
Yeah, and they're strong too.
Yeah, eating all that corn.
Yeah, lifting the corn and then eating the corn.
All right. Ben Grimm says he watched the first one recently on Joe Bob All Nighter.
Yeah, I watched that.
First one has a weird ending. I thought the ending was funny. I laughed my ass off because it's like he full on Kurt Hennig's that bitch, and the end pops up. I mean,
I will say the 4 movies that I saw, they botched the ending on every damn one of them. So pretty weak endings on all of those. So they continue that.
That's I disagree strongly about one of those.
Billy Bean says he saw the first 3 in theaters, then wised up after that.
Was it? I didn't think part 3 went to theaters. I thought that was the first. It was straight to
video. That was the first one that went to.
May have had a limited or something.
Yeah. No, I think. Was it?
That's what
was
I
it
thought
2?
I almost thought that 2 was direct to video.
I think 2 was direct to video. I don't know. Maybe they got a limited release, and
I know 3 was when like Dimension picked it up.
I mean, some do. Like I know Puppet Master even technically played in a theater.
Yeah.
You got like 2, one theater in New York, one theater in LA.
Yeah,
that doesn't count.
I mean, if you were there, it does though.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
That would have probably been an awesome ass fucking screening.
Ben Grimm says he wishes he could find out how much each movie made. No way they were all profitable. I can almost guarantee you they weren't all profitable.
I don't know, man. Yeah. I bet those early ones were.
Well, I when I was doing my research, I came across the first one made over 14 million. So, but I couldn't tell you about any of the other ones.
Well, I mean, with like 2 and 3 especially, that's like direct-to-video sequel time.
Yeah.
And they were doing that because it was a big money generator. Like,
Yeah, Wikipedia says 3 was the first one to go direct to video. So
okay. I know that there was another one, like one of the later remakes that did go to theaters, but
yeah, I think the 2009 that one had theatrical release, I believe.
I thought that was a sci-fi original.
Oh, maybe I'm wrong.
It might have just premiered on Sci-Fi.
one of them was directed or straight to TV or TV movie or whatever.
I never saw that one. The one with Cody Smith McPhee in it.
I have it. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier, man. Like, we've only seen the 6.
Well, I've seen the 2 remakes.
Oh,
I've seen the second remake, the newest one.
I've seen up to 6. I own them all.
Damn.
I collected them. Yeah, I know. And the worst thing that I'll fully admit, I watched 2 and 3 again instead of going to 7 and 8. But I love 2 and 3.
See,
so.
the when 3 starts like that, like I was big on the straight to VHS, horror in the 90s. I was huge. I watched all the, Dimension, all the Full Moon stuff. Lots of great movies came out. I love a straight, cheesy 90-minute horror movie. I'm down, and any day of the week.
I mean, that's like especially when you're talking early 90s.
Mm-hmm.
That's my shit. My like number one probably like subgenre in horror is like the 90s unnecessary sequel. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I love that shit.
I love it. It's like, hey, let's watch Sleepaway Camp 3 again.
Yeah.
All right. Ben Grimm wants to know, wasn't it shot in Iowa? Yes, it was shot in western Iowa, but it's still Iowa, so Jess and I will claim it. At least I will.
Is it set in Iowa?
No, it's set in Nebraska. So I don't know why it was set in Nebraska. I mean, yes, I get that Nebraska college team is known as the Cornhuskers, but everybody knows you want good corn, you come to Iowa. Fuck Nebraska.
What about Kentucky corn, though, man?
Never even heard of Kentucky corn.
I mean, it's just like for whiskey and feed, probably.
But we have corn here, but I mean,
we have sweet corn.
Most of our corn is labeled as like not for human consumption.
This is like animal feed corn.
Yeah, pretty much. Every once in a while, you'll have somebody be like, "Hey, man, can we eat this?" And everybody's just like, "No, dude, it's not human corn."
I mean, you could, I'm sure, right?
I don't know, man. I've always heard that not to.
It's got something.
Ben Grimm, are you from Nebraska?
You know how like in Springfield all the fish have 3 eyes? I think if you ate that corn, you might have 3 eyes after that.
They grow an extra udder. Oh.
If you've never heard of Iowa corn, I just don't know what to tell you, bud.
I mean, isn't that
corn,
whole
you get Iowa
like
corn?
Kind of corn country? Like all those Midwest states are all kind of corn country, right?
Corn country.
They all, I think for the most part, we all grow corn, but
I've heard of Iowa corn.
If you want good corn, you get Iowa corn. We make
like corn you can eat.
We make corn
fresh
for
off the plant.
Ethanol gas.
Oh, it's resistant to pesticides. It's delicious.
Oh yeah. Actually, my wife. So every year, my wife goes crazy and starts craving sweet corn. So we have to pick up a bunch of sweet corn. And she actually sat on our front porch this year and shucked probably 24 ears of corn. So,
does she just like boil it, or do you guys grill it, or
just depends on what she wants?
Just whatever. Yeah, that's cool.
Like
very, very versatile.
Some of it, she'll scrape it right off the cob and freeze it, so we've got it for later.
Oh, that's great.
But yeah, she loves sweet corn.
That's awesome.
That just surprises me, Ben. But then again, I'm biased. I live in Iowa, so I have no choice but to hear of Iowa corn. And don't get me started on melons, because we grow watermelon and muskmelon, and it's just, yeah. As a matter of fact, apparently the town that Jess and I live in now has the largest watermelon. I don't know if it's in the world or in the US, but it's just a big statue of a watermelon.
Like
Sits
a
right on the
roadside
Mississippi.
attraction.
Yeah. So, well, you're
is it
driving
just a
down.
giant watermelon?
Yeah, it's just a giant watermelon with a bite taken out of it. It's a statue.
I've never understood that kind of stuff. It's like people drive across the country just taking pictures of like a big Paul Bunyan or some shit, you know? I mean,
I can get the organic, like when it started organically.
Yeah.
Trying to build one now, that's kind of like weak.
I think in New Mexico they have the world's largest pistachio or something like that. I don't know.
Well, I want to get my picture.
We were down there about 13 years ago and visiting my dad, and he's like, "Oh, we got to stop off and see this." So we stopped off, and everybody got a picture of it.
Yeah, like that's a perfect example. You know, they built that for the attraction. Nobody's gonna just like organically say like, "I want to build a big pistachio." You know?
Yeah,
they're just like, well, watermelon's taken, apples taken.
You know what would really drive some people to come here?
The funny thing is that it sits outside of the pistachio sits outside of a roadside place to go and buy pistachios. So
but they don't even grow those there, do they?
I have no clue.
I think pistachios are
in another country.
Yeah, imported.
Yeah.
It may not be pistachio, maybe something else, but I know it's some sort of a nut. So,
well, where's the biggest corn
around here?
Where's the biggest ear of corn?
That's the slightest clue.
And what's the biggest actual ear of corn ever? I wonder. I bet that bitch was big.
I'm sure it was.
You know, there's somebody that he's known for his giant corn.
Hell yeah.
You got that's Tom. He's got the biggest corn around.
He won't tell anybody his secret.
I've seen those pumpkin guys. You know, they're always trying to get the biggest pumpkin every year.
I've thought about a couple times. I wonder how hard it is to get into pumpkins.
I think those big ones, you have to give them a lot of TLC to keep them from, like, you have to shield them from the sunlight and stuff.
Trust me on this. Itself. Pumpkins are the last thing you ever want to try and grow. My kids thought it'd be a bright idea to throw pumpkin seeds in our backyard, and we'd have pumpkins for the following year. Those motherfuckers inhabited, like, they just took over our yard.
Mm-hmm.
So
I've been there every Halloween. That seems like it happens around here.
Yep. We had up until like 2 years ago we're getting way off topic, but up until like 2 years ago, we had a roadside, like, local. They had a cool, like, wood carved sign that said Hollow Jack's Pumpkin Patch, and they sold pumpkins, and they recently stopped and took that sign down. And I was like, maybe I should take over their game.
Yeah.
Become the new pumpkin guy. But probably they quit because it wasn't very fruitful, so
yeah,
it might be a bad idea.
All right. Well, let's try and get back on topic here and move on to Children of the Corn 2, The Final Sacrifice. This is it, the last movie.
Yep, that's it.
And it should have been, as far as I'm concerned, just because at heart I am a horny 16-year-old, and my God, Christy Clark, who... So, growing up as a kid, like I was telling you before, I was always told that I didn't like horror movies. I was scared of them, so I was never allowed to watch them. But one thing I was allowed to watch during the summer was Days of Our Lives because my mom is a big soap opera fan. And there was one character on that show that I would watch, and her name was Carrie Brady. And she was played by Christy Clark, who is the drop dead gorgeous blonde in this movie. She is the girl on the bike in the skimpy clothes, the one that finds, or where they find the hand on her back or whatever, or under her back. My God. So it's part of the reason why it took me so long to get through the movies I did watch, because I kept wanting to go back and rewatch this one for her.
Mm-hmm.
That is the only reason you need to watch this movie. And then I also found out later on that she is the same girl who plays the little sister in Nightmare on Elm Street 2. So that was just a little added bonus, I guess. I enjoy Nightmare on Elm Street 2, so I didn't think she was hot then, but she grew up.
That's the
She
appropriate
became hot.
response, Kory.
He definitely grew up and out.
Yeah. So, if Christy Clark, if you ever see this, you are the love that's not my wife.
But you don't like it other than that?
No, the movie is fine. Like, I don't have an issue so much with the entire movie. It does get a little confusing towards the end or in the middle where it's an ancient Indian prophecy. No, it's this fungus on the corn. No, it's the cops. Pick a lane and stick with it.
Well, I guess I'll go ahead and go on that. Just these two next two, but this one included. Like, this is my type of movie. I love these types of movies, these direct-to-video sequels that, like, it has nothing to do even with the franchise of each one. It just has to do with the fact that the video store boom was happening and every studio was digging up every 80s movie they had, just giving it a sequel, hiring a guy, and, like, most of the time it came out like gold because of the effects guys they were hiring, some of the directors. And this one is it's not up there at the top, but it's like, it's a solid direct-to-video, like, 90s movie. It's got a lot of
period of time. I mean, can you name a main franchise that did not have sequels like that? I mean,
yeah,
it's hard.
Stepfather, Pumpkinhead,
everything.
Like, you can just keep listing them, and, like, I don't know, this one has, like, really fun. It's just this was a fun one in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
You've got that little, like, emo Isaac wannabe running around like, oh, I want to kill everybody, and, like, they drop a house on a chick. The remote control wheelchair scene.
Oh,
that one where the dude is, like, bleeding out of every orifice of his fucking face, and nobody notices but the chick right beside him, and he's just like pouring blood everywhere. Like, there's a bunch of fun shit like that in this movie. It's just like they had to throw in the, like, quirky Indian just, like, pops up and is like, hey, white man, and, like, it's good shit, man.
Jay, you said you haven't seen this one, or you?
No, I've seen it. I didn't watch it for this show. Unfortunately, it sounds like it's a lot of fun. I don't remember much about it. I do remember the remote control wheelchair, and when you said that, it jogged some memories.
Yeah, that's, like, the thing that always stuck with me, because I saw it, like, 2 or 3 times when I was a kid, and it was that wheelchair scene. That is hilarious, dude.
This guy from Collider says, it's so bad it's good, saying, whatever way you slice it, Children of the Corn 2, The Final Sacrifice defies all logic and every rule of good storytelling, falling its way into utterly delightful effect.
Well, it's like, so predictable. It's just like a cut and paste, like kid has to come live with his dad now in the country and they hate each other shit.
Yeah.
And they just like wrote a Children of the Corn story around that.
Yeah.
Well, at least with this one though, they like tried to make sure that there was a connection to the original. And it's something that they lose later on.
Until part 6, right?
But it was still it's still very confusing. Because it's like,
well, there's like 8 years between the first one and the second one, and they're trying to say that it's like,
but there's like the whole town is inhabited now, but they still have these kids, and now they're gonna like gather them all up and put them on a bus and like distribute them to everybody's house, and it's like, what? Like, so it's very confusing.
Well, hey, it's been 8 years, but John Franklin looks the exact same. So why not have gotten him back? You know, I mean,
well, they were holding him for 6. Basically.
Yeah, they were holding on to him.
The big comeback
for the best movie in the franchise.
So yeah, Children of the Corn 2. I thoroughly enjoyed some parts of that. I like the movie. I'm not saying anything bad about the movie. I just wish they would have picked a lane as far as what they were going for with what the cause of this was or whatever, you know, but
I'll also throw in, like I said earlier, with Children of the Corn just being such a cool ass name. It's like a metal band name. Children of the Corn. And then with this one, Final Sacrifice. They're good at names, dude. That's a sick ass name.
I mean, if they didn't make any sequels, do you think the name would mean anything now still?
Yeah. Because like we said earlier, I don't remember if we were live for that or not, but it played so much on TV. That's why I don't remember the first time I saw it, because I saw it so much when I was a kid, because it was always on. Like, and plus it's got the Stephen King backing, so it's like, I feel like even without I feel like a lot of people might not even know about the sequels.
Yeah.
You have to be in our little environment to even know, probably. And if you do know, it's probably just a joke. Like, you would never watch them, you know?
Yeah.
But that first movie, I did think reached enough of a height for it. It's just kind of like a household movie title, you know?
Well, when that first movie came out, you just put Stephen King on it, and that's money. You know, it's making money.
Yeah.
You know, and that started to fade
it's
towards
still like that a little bit, ain't it?
90s with Langoliers and stuff. Tommy Knockers, you know, it kind of lost a little bit of its meaning.
Did anybody else get like a, I don't know, kind of like a loose vibe for like Pet Sematary while watching the second one?
Yeah. It's the moving out to the country, city folk moving out to the country thing, probably.
That and kind of like them trying to connect it to like an Indian thing, and
yeah.
So. Think about how many horror movies start with people moving to a new place, you know. Yeah. I guess that's a good jumping off place for now the stuff's going down, you know.
A lot of those movies are fun, man.
Ben Grimm, if you're looking for a new cult, I hear the Mormons are always looking for people. Muslims are too.
Scientology, don't count them out. Man.
Oh yeah, Scientology.
There's a new one I heard of, Profundity Now. Go look into Profundity Now.
That sounds fake, Chris.
No, trust me. I mean, yeah, exactly. Go look it up though, because it's catching on to the point that the FBI is like starting to.
Or what about that cult with that lady that drank all the silver and turned blue? You hear about that one? HBO did the doc on it last year. Oh, that's a good one. I don't want to spoil it for you then.
Well, Profundity Now is a like trailer trash looking smoked for 10 years gravelly voiced woman on the internet who is like saying that she's an alien.
I've seen her,
and
you're talking about
she's
now.
gathering a following, and like from what I heard, like the FBI is even starting to like get worried.
Her name isn't Ethel, is it?
Because it's the internet, dude. I don't know. I don't remember her name.
Yeah, I mean, she's got like a great big compound out somewhere.
I don't think so. I think she just like streams from her trailer or something.
I thought she had a big following that like lived with her, like lived out on her property.
Maybe I don't know. I didn't go too deep. I watched like a video of a dude kind of like making fun of it.
That may have been the same thing I saw.
Papa meat.
Pasta meat.
Yeah, that was it.
Papa meat, baby.
Do they like only eat Italian food? Because if that's the case, I might be in on that too.
Hey.
Hey.
Is that what they call the mafia now? Pastafarians?
Let's see here. On to Children of the Corn 3 Urban Harvest.
Every name is a metal album.
I didn't hate this movie either. It's just they need to do a better job of casting who the evil kid is going to be. It just
this one I'm gonna get mad about if you shit on it too hard, Kory.
You didn't like the Los Menendez brother? Yeah, that's
that kid is a horror icon, dude.
He doesn't look creepy.
He's played
John Franklin was creepy. The kid in part 2, not creepy.
Well, yeah, the kid in part 2 was just hilarious.
The kid
he
in
looked
3, not creepy.
He looked like a kid who was trying to look like David Boreanaz or something in Angel.
More eyeliner. So this part 3 stars Jess's good friend Brian Peck.
Oh yeah. Stars is a stretch, but
that's a joke. Obviously.
He is in there somewhere.
He's in there. So this is where the two kids they move with the new family, right? Again, we have the same situation.
This is Children of the Corn in the Hood.
Urban harvest. Yes. So we've got some black people.
They move from the country to the city.
This is Children of the Corn in the Hood. That's literally what it is.
Which
they
one
moved
came
to
first?
Inner city Chicago.
Was Leprechaun in the Hood before this? Because I thought the exact same thing.
No, this is the first in the Hood movie.
They started it.
Yeah,
revolutionized the industry.
Yeah, and it's the best in the Hood movie ever.
And so the older brother, which you find out they're adopted, he just immediately, like first day, he starts playing basketball, and he's, now I'm one of the guys. He's got a whole group of friends now. Like day one.
So. You've never met kids that do that?
Starts wearing collared shirts.
Yeah, I'm like, oh man, I got to put me some colored stuff on now. I'd take this preacher outfit off and.
Well, do y'all care if I go?
Go ahead.
Go for it.
This is the best Children of the Corn movie. This is the best horror movie that goes to the hood. This is like a classic. This is like it was directed. It's got a great director, Anthony Hickox or whatever. He's the guy who directed Hellraiser 3.
Waxwork.
This has Screaming Mad George practical effects. Screaming Mad George is my second favorite practical effects artist of all time. The man's a fucking artist.
Effects are amazing in this movie.
The effects in this movie are fucking dope. That kid,
that head pop at the end when the plants pull the dude's head off.
And this spine is 10 foot long for no reason. It's awesome. The kid was also the kid from Demonic Toys. So he's got like two like classic early 90s roles under his belt. And it's just such a like,
but he's still not creepy.
This is he is. That's why
he's
they kept hiring him.
Franklin creepy. That's what I want.
He's campy creepy. It's different.
I think he's creepy.
He is, man. And I also think that this movie is pretty well put together, like story-wise. A lot of stuff isn't fleshed out completely, but it's a pretty fucking good story. I mean, as basic as it is, it's done effectively. Just Eli like psychologically fucks with people, like the preacher and the mom.
Oh yeah.
Like that's good shit, man. And I don't know the corn Bible. Like I kind of want a replica of that corn Bible just because I don't know. It's so, I mean, the movie's cool, man. The movie's awesome. This is like like I was saying about, I like this early 90s sequel shit. This is like a archetype poster example. This is like one of the best ones, dude. Yeah. I love this fucking movie.
One thing about these straight to video sequels is they have great cast. This one has got, I mean, Charlize Theron is in there before she was anything. She's not credited, but she was.
Yeah, she was.
I saw her. She has black hair though, so you don't recognize it's her. She's at the very end when they're doing the she gets
big
like
slaughter
anointed or whatever. Yeah.
I heard that I think it was Dan that was saying that Brandon Nicholson, who was in Buffy and shit, he was in there somewhere in the background, like playing basketball.
Xander?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
So you say Buffy, and I immediately think Christy Swanson.
Oh yeah.
It takes me a minute to go to the TV show.
I've seen too much of the show. I think I'm Michelle Gellar.
I used to watch the movie all the time just for.
Oh yeah,
the movie's great.
So anyway,
they're two different things, though.
They are completely different.
So I actually had listed in my notes here that corn Bible. Was there ever like what was in that Bible? Like, was there anything specific in that Bible? I don't remember.
Well, like, okay, so spoiler alert, because I don't think it fucking matters. Eli is he who walks behind the rows, right?
Right.
And I think it's just saying that, like, it's his Horcrux, kind of. Like, he came back as... It's almost like a limitation he has, maybe. And I'm filling in blanks here myself. This isn't explained in the movie. I'm just guessing that because the guy says like, "Oh, you're like a worm. Worms have two halves,
right?
And you have to destroy them both." So like when he comes back, he can't just come back as a human. He has to have this like kind of like weakness or something. This vulnerable spot or something. I don't know. I think that's what they were trying to get at.
Did I miss when the movie starts and he's just automatically the one who walks behind the rows, right? It's just he.
Yeah, I mean, like he was in an old ass newspaper from like the 60s or whatever.
Okay.
That so brings up another thing that I had listed here. This is where they start screwing with the timeline.
That is a bit of a plot hole, yeah.
Because
I don't know if it
in the original, when they kill all the adults, it's 1981.
Yeah, I don't know if it's supposed to be the same incident. Is it?
I think it's unrelated. It's just in the same universe.
I think it's saying that like he's done this before or something. I don't know though. I was always just like. Like with the kind of movie it is, I just kind of don't question shit like that. Right. I just am like, what? They had to make it fit, I guess.
So does he stay the same age? Does he die and come back as the same dude? No, well.
I'm assuming he stays the same age.
Yeah.
I mean, he came back the same. Unless he had just stayed there. I don't know. But I mean, my guess is that he chose that form because he was going after kids. Because is he Satan or is he just like a demon who, I think it's cooler if he's a demon who likes to fuck with kids in like the Midwest religious Bible Belt. I like to think that, other than he's Satan, you know.
He's the demon of crops.
Yeah,
I think just saying he's Satan is cheap.
Yeah,
it's too easy.
they almost do, man. That Eli says, the preacher is like, "Who are you?" And Eli says, "You know who I am," which is kind of like he's implying he's Satan, but.
Yeah, but don't demons do that all the time? Like, don't demons always pretend to be Satan? Like,
yeah, they inherently.
There's so many demons out there, you know.
They inherently like lie and shit.
Exactly. We're probably going deeper into this than anybody ever has.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I'm ready to go deeper, man. I'm ready to go deeper.
Like, I mean, that's what I do with these movies. You can like, I think that's why some people are just like, "How can you like this?" I think I fill in blanks, like. A lot. Like if there is a blank, I'll fill it with the coolest thing I can. You know what I'm saying? That might be my issue with liking such shitty movies.
I don't think there's anything wrong with liking these movies. It's just, for me, if I can't make the storyline actually fit, then it starts to become real problematic for me. So like with 3, this kid was around in 64, and then you find out later on that there's another kid who was a preacher in 64, but he's in a well. They burned him alive and put him in a well. So, I mean, which one is it?
Well, that one is, that's where the franchise loses me.
So I did have another note, and I think it was later on, but I think from this point on, it starts to feel like, with the exception of part 6, that each movie is more or less a remake. I mean, they put a number behind it or give it a subtitle, but it's basically
just a completely different, completely unrelated story.
Yeah.
Like,
and I'm fine with that, honestly.
If they're good,
yeah,
I'm fine with it, because there wasn't much continuity. Any continuity was like a thin string, but I mean, it's easy to really focus on that because they're so bad. Like 4 and 5, I can hold my tongue if you want, but like, I hate both of those movies. They're horrible. There's no.
Why don't we go ahead and jump into 4? Children of the Corn 4, The Gathering.
That's not a very heavy metal name.
I don't know. I think it could be. I think you're looking for more like black metal or
yeah.
So the only notes I really have for this one here is the twins in this movie are creepy.
This is the one with Karen Black.
Yeah.
Okay.
The twins are creepy. That's basically it. I mean, actually, isn't this the one? Isn't this the one where they?
We're already having to do
this. where the kid was, where they basically recycled the same thing. The kid was a preacher, and they burned him alive and dumped his ashes in a well. And
yeah, this is a vengeance ghost movie.
Yeah,
this is not Children of the Corn at all. Really, does he influence kids at all to do shit? He does, doesn't he?
He gathers them together,
but he's a ghost. He's not like a demon or a kid. Maybe initially he was like guided by a demon, but this is a ghost, right?
Basically, yeah. And he's trying to possess a young child or something.
Well, they all get that fever, and then once they pop from that fever, they're all possessed.
Yeah, and they all change their names to like biblical names or whatever.
I do think there was one cool scene maybe where kids were attacking a house, but I barely remember that. I remember not liking it. I remember Karen Black being like
Underused, man. She's
yeah,
underused.
and then like there was just nothing else really to cling to. There were no cool effects, no cool kills, no unintentional humor. There was just nothing, you know.
She makes more
Naomi
than an
Watts
appearance in this.
yeah.
She's like the main character, isn't she?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She got paid $5,000 for this movie.
Holy shit.
5 big ones.
To be the lead. I mean, I would say she's the lead. And Karen Black is just like a claustrophobic or is it agoraphobic lady just like shut in?
Yeah. She can't like move past her sidewalk or something. But then she does, and she's perfectly fine.
When was this? Was this 96?
They were turning them out every year there. Yeah. Let's see. I've got it pulled up here.
96, maybe 97, 96.
Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. I'm on the wrong one.
Yeah. Was it when in 96 though? Does anybody see that? I'm wondering if this is pre or post Scream.
October 9th.
But they were probably filming it before Scream, right?
I would think so. They probably filmed it in like a month at the most.
I don't know. It just feels like one of those. There's no. I don't know. There's no soul behind it. The people who made it, it doesn't feel like they cared about it. I could be wrong. Who knows? But it just doesn't feel like there's any intentional like interest, and there's no like unintentional interest either. It's just kind of like bland and forgettable.
Well, let's keep this ball rolling here.
Weak ending on this one too.
I don't remember the ending.
Children of the Corn 5, Fields of Terror.
That's a terrible poster.
This is after Scream. This is 100% like a post-Scream movie.
Mm-hmm.
This movie they completely lost the whole idea of what the first movie was. The whole once you turn 19, you have to, anybody over the age of 19 or whatever has to die, and the whole thing about not trusting adults, and yet they use an adult. So this is not all that great. I'm trying to be as generous with it as possible, but like they've got quite a few names in it though. I mean, Alexis Arquette, Eva Mendes, Kane Hodder, David Carradine.
That kid from Under Wraps. He's in there.
I was going to say, I knew you would recognize him from that.
Yeah, dude.
Because I thought it was the kid from Step by Step, but he looks a lot like that kid. It's not him, though.
Yeah.
He's done a ton of stuff, though. He did Under Wraps. I think he did an episode of Goosebumps.
Yeah. And I wanted to love this movie because I watched this for the first time like last year, and I wanted to love it. I was like, Eva Mendes is in this shit, and the kid from Under Wraps. I was like, I went into it pretty stoked and optimistic. It was also because it was the like post Scream era. I thought it might be like funny in that way. I don't know. It's just another stinker, dude. Like nothing impactful happens. Everything falls short. It's almost like it was edited poorly to where all the timing is off in the movie. And
it feels weird.
Yeah.
Because you got David Carradine in there, you got Fred Williamson in there, all-star cast. You know, David Carradine is basically underused. He's just like a cult leader type guy.
He was cool when he was on screen.
Yeah. This is like before Quentin Tarantino gave him his big comeback. But so he's just got this corn silo that's just been burning corn for however long, right?
Which is a cool concept too.
Yeah.
That like eternal fire thing.
And then Eva Mendes just kind of does a cannonball into it. And she's gone. Like,
yeah, dude. All of a sudden,
gone, right?
She's like in one scene, she's like, "Hey, these guys are kind of making sense." And then like 5 minutes later, she's jumping in the fucking silo, dude.
I thought it was more of a can opener that she was doing instead of a cannonball.
It was can opener for sure.
But it somehow wasn't funny though. Like that should be hilarious. In a better movie, it would have been. But it just like
I laughed at it.
It wasn't funny. I don't know.
I think you're exactly right, Chris. This does have like a lot of the Alexis Arquette, I think, is played for a laugh. You know, whenever he's put in a situation, he's like, "Hey, can we talk about this?" Or you know, he's got some stupid one-liner to approach like a chick with a drill coming to drill at him.
Yeah.
He's like, "Hey, you know," and something stupid that's not funny. Before he was, Alexis.
There seems to be a running theme with a lot of these movies, and even the ones after, is that they're somewhere in the movie there's a cool premise, but they completely fuck it up.
Yeah.
If somebody was actually paying attention to what the hell they were doing, they could have made a cool movie out of any of these, but somehow they managed to screw it up.
Yeah, somebody screwed the pooch on this one because it's got all the elements to be a decent movie.
Speaking of all the elements to be a decent movie, let's move on to Children of the Corn 666, Isaac's Return. I keep wanting to say Isaac's Revenge, but I like the poster. I know I'm not the authority that people look to when it comes to movie posters.
Well, I mean, the green, that's like my favorite color, green.
You kind of
I
get
love
like
glowy green.
Almost like a Wicked Witch of the West kind of feel, but
put it back up there. Let me look at it again.
Put it back up there.
Yeah, let me see that thing.
With the hat and
it looks like Mel Gibson.
It does.
It does, doesn't it? It's cool, man. Why is the lightning going up, though? That's kind of weird. It's coming up from... Well, I guess it's coming up from the ground. That's demon magic, right?
Sure.
I thought the 666 had a fucking inverted cross in one of the sixes. I could have swore. Because I always thought that was pretty sick.
There's probably not too many versions of that.
Maybe I'm thinking of a different movie.
Well, 666 gets put in a lot of horror movies, so.
I mean, that's like going back to that whole I'm looking for black metal titles. That's pretty black metal.
Yeah.
The latest and most horrifying chapter.
I will say this movie has a lot of wasted potential. You've got Isaac back, the guy who actually played him in the first one. You've got him back as well. I mean, there was so much they could have done with this, and they completely fucked it up. I personally buy the idea that he could have been in a coma, but like all the surrounding, we know
he got like devoured by a fucking CGI red glowy thing, and then like blown into the fucking corn. He's not in a coma, dude. He's dead.
Hey.
He could be in a coma.
Nah, dude. He who walks by on the road fucked him in the end of that movie.
Broke his fall. He could be in a coma.
Maybe, man.
A corna. Cornma. There we go.
She saved him by putting him in the hospital.
Told you guys. Well, at least I told Chris when we thought we went live. I'm full of bad puns tonight, so
Also, though, another
how many times I can fit the word corn into something.
Another star-studded cast, because this has that kid from Bone Chillers. Sorry, I watch a lot of kids horror shows.
I know that guy.
This also has Michael Ironside in it.
He
saw
was
him
in
in an episode
he was in
of
Buffy.
Entourage recently. Yeah,
he was one of those guys who like popped up a lot as like a recurring, or not recurring, but like a. I mean, he's almost like a character actor for TV, basically. Like he's a Dick Miller type for those 90s and early 2000s TV shows.
And he played a teenager till he was like 35.
And him taking that fucking swan dive onto the scythe, that was a pretty cool scene, dude. But yeah, that's about it for it. I don't think this one ranks too high with me either. And this is the last one I've seen. Right. I should have watched Revelations, but instead I chose to rewatch part 3.
Revelation.
So, yeah. That's the next one, right?
There were a few I didn't even know existed when I was looking up the.
I just, when I was making my notes, I just wrote down Children of the Corn 7. We'll find out here in just a second, though, because good old Jess, he left us the posters. Yes, Children of the Corn Revelation.
That's the most generic sequel title.
Somebody put this into Photoshop and made it in about 10 minutes. Oh, got it, print. We got it.
And this was 2000, right? This was like, they hadn't gotten too lazy like this. Like, Children of the Corn is a pioneer in the laziness department, too.
Yeah.
The sad thing is, I remember seeing that in a video store, and I never picked it up to watch it. So for this one, I could not find it on any of the streaming services I have. I do not have Shudder. My wife is actually planning on getting rid of some streaming services because they're getting too expensive. But and most of what I watch is on Tubi anyway. But it's, from what I could see from the trailer and different reviews that I watched for this movie, it seems like it's got an interesting premise, but once again, so have a lot of these other movies, and they don't live up to the hype at all. So, yeah, Children of the Corn Revelation, just at some point I will watch it. It's not something that I'm going to be like running out to see anytime soon. So
this is when they stopped numbering them as well. First one without a number. So I hate when they do that, because it's always so confusing to remember which one's which.
Real quick,
like the Hellraiser franchise. I have to have a spreadsheet in front of me when we talk about Hellraiser.
Oh God, yeah.
I have that 6-pack too. It's all the way in the other room, but I have every movie. I haven't watched like these or the one we're talking about, but I, for some reason, own every one of them. I've just like picked them up here and there through the years.
I thought I owned more of these movies than what I did, but a lot of it, you know what happens when you get a lot of movies and people like to come over and they're like, hey, can I borrow a movie? And you feel like Cockbuster. And
nobody touches my movies, man.
I've been turned into a piece of shit when it comes to that, because I've had stuff stolen from me so many times.
Yeah, like, it's different now.
Get a borrow your NES game and they move away like a week later. It's like, all right, well, that game's gone forever.
It's different now. It's not like you can just go to Walmart and replace this shit. Now this shit is like, in some cases you're extremely lucky you found it, you know? I don't let people borrow movies. If you want to call me a dick, whatever.
I can honestly say that the last video store we had was a Family Video, and they closed 5-6 years ago. Since then, the only people I ever loan movies out to is Jess, which, by the way, you still have my Karate Kid movie, bud. I want it back.
Which one, man? Karate Kid 3?
I think 3.
4, the best one.
What's the one with that girl?
That's 4. The next Karate Kid.
Is that the girl from Reaper? That show?
That's
Yeah, that's the oddest pull, but yeah,
she's hot, dude. Because I think she's like a legit gymnast or something. And
The Office did a whole thing on whether or not she's hot or not. Like, they had a big argument on the show.
I don't remember that.
I thought the girl in that was Hilary Swank.
Yeah, it is.
It is? Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's a different chick. They do look the same, like similar.
She was in that movie, though, that you said, right? The Reaping or whatever?
Oh, this is Reaper. This is like a TV show from the 2000s.
Oh, my bad.
Nah, you're good. You might not have seen it. It had that dude from Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Oh, I love that show.
And it had Spanish from what's that movie? You're my boy, Blue. Where the old guys go to college.
Oh, Old School.
Old School. You remember Spanish?
Yeah.
Him and the dude from Tucker and Dale versus Evil was in it. It's a good show. It's worth watching.
So funny.
Wasn't that the show where the main character was like the son of Satan and he
spoiler alert, you're not supposed to know that for the first season, but yeah. Okay. His parents sold his soul to the devil to save one of them or whatever. And so on his like 18th birthday, the devil shows up and is like, you're gonna be my reaper, and he has to go. It's like a Monster of the Week show. He has to go chase demons who escape tail. It's a good show.
How have I not seen that? Yeah, that sounds amazing.
It's what, 3 seasons, right?
2 or 3, yeah.
The reason why I was confused, Chris, is Hilary Swank did a movie called The Reaping in 2007.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that chick did a movie similar to Karate Kid or something where she was like a fighter. So I always get them confused. It's because that's kind of funny because they both kind of like did a thing.
I'm more of a showdown guy myself, but anyway, so yeah,
it's available. Sorry, Swaggy's saying he never heard of it. It's available on streaming. We watched it not too long ago. I think it's on the CW app, and it is worth watching. It's if you like Monster of the Week shows.
That's my favorite.
Check it out. Yeah, mine too.
And it's a comedy, so
yeah.
Yeah, I love Dale and Tucker too, or Tucker and Dale, whichever it is.
And the devil too. I can't think of his name, but you'll recognize him immediately. He's like oh fuck. He's in all kinds of shit.
He was in Chuck. He was in I'm trying to think. He's been in a ton of TV shows.
Yeah. He's that like older, charismatic, smooth talking dude.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on to Children of the Corn. This is the first remake, came out in 2009. I'm not a fan of this movie. This movie sucks. So they've got the same. They kept the same characters, Bert and Vicky, is it, from the original? But they're like constantly fighting. They're constantly bickering and shit back and forth. And I get that that part is supposed to be based off of the actual story that Stephen King wrote, but I find it annoying and. It's just it's not a good movie.
That was the whole push, I'm sure. Which this is actually the story. Yeah, it's not like that first movie. It's just closer to the story.
They do this thing later on in the movie where they try and like I guess use that Field of Dreams thing with the corn. So like you disappear in the corn and it's just I think the final straw for me was there's a sex scene in the movie and I don't remember ever seeing a sex scene in a horror movie where you have little kids cheering it on. I found it really gross, really just unnecessary.
Go.
Yeah, basically, there's these little farm kids, and you've got these two teenagers that are fucking just wailing away in front of them, and like I'm sure they didn't actually film them having sex in front of these kids, but just the visual of it, it's not something that sat right with me. I will probably never ever watch this movie again.
This was straight to sci-fi, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. See, I remember when this came out, I was really huge into horror, like new horror at the time. And there was a lot of good stuff coming out. And I just remember everyone hating this movie, so I never even gave it a shot.
I'll give a movie a shot unless I see something in the trailer or a clip from the movie that I will never, ever, 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 ever intentionally sit down to watch Terminator Dark Fate just because they let it leak that John Connor dies. Well, fuck that shit. You tell me for 5 fucking movies that he's the savior of the world and all this shit, and now you're going to kill him off because you want to put some chick in charge instead. Fuck that. Fuck you. I have no interest in it. So if I would have actually seen any of this shit before I sat down to watch the movie, I never would have watched it. So
I'm back.
I don't even remember any of that. I will say give Dark Fate a shot, though. It's not terrible. It's better than Genesis.
I don't know. I enjoyed Genesis.
Okay, well, give it a shot.
I mean, it's confusing, but I
Terminator.
I was saying that I'll pretty much give any movie a chance, but there are certain movies where I know something's going to happen that I don't agree with or I don't like, I will not watch it.
Not to go off on a tangent, but the problem with Dark Fate is Schwarzenegger and Linda Hamilton. Back to Linda Hamilton again. See, we're tying it all together. Fuck both of them. They shouldn't have been in that movie.
I haven't watched one since Salvation, I don't think.
It's like, give me a Terminator without Schwarzenegger and Linda Hamilton. Give me an Alien movie without Sigourney Weaver. And they
gave us a Terminator without Linda Hamilton or Schwarzenegger. It was Salvation, and it sucked.
No, that's my least favorite in the whole franchise. Yeah.
That's the first movie ever. It's like marked in history for me. The first movie that showed the entire movie in the trailer, and I was pissed, man, because I was so stoked. I was like, dude, this trailer's badass. And then, like, what's going to happen in the movie? And then that's all that happens in the movie. And I'm just like, dude, what?
Technically, Arnold was in it. They face swapped his dude with some other big jacked up guy.
Well,
that movie could have been good.
Not to get too far off track
Great
here.
cast.
But my wife and I went and seen that instead of going and seeing the first Expendables movie. Both were playing at our theater at the same time, and
I don't know which one.
I was like, "Oh, hey, there's a new Terminator. Let's go see that."
That's better than that Expendables.
Well, yeah. At that point, it was like this shit wasn't every day. You heard like, "Oh, they're remaking fucking whatever." This was like 10 years removed from part 3, right? Mm-hmm. Like it had been a long time, so it still felt like, oh, dude, they're breaking out a new Terminator movie. We weren't in this situation we're in now, where that's just like everyday news, I guess.
It sounds so good on paper, man. We're in the future, like we're in that world for a good bit of the movie, or most of the movie.
Yeah, but it was nothing like what I thought it was going to be.
It doesn't translate.
Well, yeah, I think that's because that they can't. It's kind of like a horror movie. They can't top what you imagine. And you've spent 2 movies, 3 if you like the third one.
Yeah.
But those first 2 movies that are really good, you spent those movies hearing about and imagining how bad that future was. So they couldn't create that for you, because in your head it was just
just
the
the little
worst.
flashbacks and dreams from Terminator 2 of the future and how it is, is better than what they did with that movie.
Yeah, it just looks like literally like a wasteland. Robots are roaming around.
Robots are everywhere, yeah.
Crunching skulls, and if they see a human, he's toast. Like,
that's
cool. Sounds
cool.
like a nightmare escape,
Yeah.
See, my issue with it was that they were focusing on everybody but John Connor. This is supposed to be where John Connor is the main focus. Like, he's doing the shit that they've been talking about for the first 3 fucking movies. Now let him do it, and they didn't do that. He's subservient to all these other fucking people.
Was John Connor the guy that died? I forget his name, but the younger guy in the movie? Was that John Connor?
Christian Bale played John Connor in Salvation.
Oh, Christian Bale. Okay, my bad.
Horrible casting.
You think so?
Yeah,
I'm not a Christian Bale fan, so.
I mean, the other guy in there and then the little guy, I can't think of his name. Got crushed by his car.
Eddie Furlong. You see Eddie Furlong growing up into Christian Bale? I don't.
No.
I'm not a
Furlong was deep on a crack rock at this point, so
yeah.
I am not a Christian Bale fan at all, but I will say that I thought he looked like the guy that they showed in the first one, like the older John Connor. He looked more like him, but I don't like the way I just don't like his acting. I'm not a fan of his. So
that was Kyle Reese, the guy I'm thinking about, the young kid. What's his fucking name?
Well, while you're looking that up,
we're talking about Terminator
for the next Children of the Corn movie.
I was about to say we're in a Children of the Corn franchise show, deep diving into Terminator.
Hey, I'll do it, man.
That says a lot.
I'm a big Terminator guy.
I promise we will hit Terminator. More than likely, it'll be on a Rumble, not a horror Rumble. But
this looks like a great one we got here.
The only Dimension Extreme sub-label movie in the franchise.
Yeah, the only note I've got for this movie is they lost me. Like,
this is the one with Billy Drago, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I know that about it. I haven't seen it though. Speaking of Billy Drago, there's his biggest fan in the chat.
Oh, Dan agrees with you, Chris.
It's a good movie, dude.
But
Dan? Also, Dan doesn't like the first one, so we were gonna rumble tonight, but he didn't show up.
I kind of agree with Dan.
Dan, Children of the Corn 3 is not the best one. Children of the Corn is the best one. Children of the Corn 2 is the second best one. But it is very, very close between 1 and 2, and it's for one reason only. And if you were not here.
No, it's for 2 reasons. So,
if you were not here at the actual beginning and not the fake beginning, you will have to go back and rewatch and find out why. Jess will be back eventually, hopefully at the next show. So he couldn't make it tonight. So we are trying to soldier on without him.
We're doing fine, man. I mean, not that he's not missed, but we're making it happen, right? I think we're doing all right.
We've covered Terminator for a few of the movies, so we
covered
I better be careful because Jess is going to kill me when he finds out we were talking Terminator, not Children of the Corn.
Oh man, we got to fill the air here. Come on.
Hold up, we've covered Terminator, we've covered Reaper, we've almost started covering Karate Kid. We covered world's largest roadside attractions. We've gotten into it.
Oh, good God. Yeah. So, Children of the Corn Genesis. Yeah. I haven't seen it, and there was nothing that I could find that even remotely looked interesting to me about that movie. So I probably will not see that either. Just if
Billy
I did,
Drago, though.
Yeah.
Okay, let me put it this way: if I happen to come across it and there is absolutely nothing else on, then I might watch it. But
If
Where
I
did I
had a
see-
little bit more time, man, I was going to try to watch all these, but I just ran out of time.
I was planning on watching all of them too, and my problem is that most of the ones that, well, the ones that I didn't own or couldn't watch was because they weren't streaming on anything that I had. So
I can talk about my copy. My copy is the old family video copy. It's
Well,
got
there you
the
go.
Did you get it for
read
five?
us the
$5.99, 2 for
synopsis on that.
2 for $8, baby.
The next chapter in terror. Genesis is the chilling next chapter. That's a little bit redundant.
Can you do it in like the trailer voice? You know, the
Well, it's not. Hold on.
This summer.
Genesis is the chilling next chapter in the ever popular horror series. It's a very bland one. If they get like juicy, I'll do it. Based on the classic Stephen King story. Here we go. When a stranded young couple seeks refuge in a remote desert compound, they encounter a stranger. Manson-like figure known as Preacher.
Oh, wow.
Billy Drago. He reluctantly allows them inside with orders to be gone by morning.
I've
This
heard a
is- this
joke
isn't
that's
reading
about
like a trailer
that,
one
only
either.
You're not supposed to fuck his daughter.
While
Go
investigating
ahead.
faint screams coming from a dilapidated shed, the couple discover they have stumbled upon a bizarre cult worshiping an entity that may or may not dwell inside a haunted little boy.
I'm going to guess it does.
Dun,
I'm
dun,
going to go out on a
dun.
limb here and say it does dwell inside of him.
It is written and directed by Joel Soyson.
Oh, yeah.
They don't even bother to list.
This summer, prepare your butthole for.
Kellen Coleman, Tim Rock, and Bill Drago. So Bill Drago's the only like noticeable name.
That sounds like a hot turd, guys. I haven't seen it, but
And for this release, the special features include a conversation with director Joel Soyson.
All right.
man, did I have interactive menus on it?
And you
Sounds
were able to
Probably
get that
scene
for,
selection.
for how much?
Hey man, $4.99 or 2 for $8.
Sounds like you got yourself a hell of a steal there.
It's a bargain. I actually got it for cheaper than that because I got it during their liquidation or whatever.
Oh. Yeah, I think I got 12 rounds like on the last day that ours was still open. Like I found it on Blu-ray and I was just like, well, I talked my wife into stopping, so I got to get something. So I grabbed that.
I never got to go to one, man. I always heard you guys talking about it, and turn around and they're closed. So
Yeah. It happened quick, man. They announced it, and I think they were staying open for like 3 days after the announcement to liquidate, if I'm remembering right. And then they were just gone.
wow, that is quick.
Well, we had a full week. Actually, we had 2 full weeks.
Yeah,
The
it
announcement,
might
we had
have.
2 full weeks, and then
It
so
might
like
have
I
been
went
a
in and when our Blockbuster went out, I ran in there and I was grabbing like I think I grabbed the Rear Window, The Birds, a couple other Hitchcock movies. I think I got Vertigo and then another one. I think I might have got The Rope, which if we ever do a Hitchcock show, that is my
I've always
least favorite
heard-
Hitchcock movie.
I've always heard The Rope is awesome.
Yeah, I hate
I
that movie.
I need to watch it. You hate
You
it?
watch a lot.
I
of those.
hate that movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we'll talk about it when we do a Hitchcock show. But
That's the one that's one long take, right? Or at
Yeah.
least made to look like that.
yeah, it just, I don't like the fact that they give away like who did it right at the very beginning. Like, they show it, exactly who it is, and it drives me nuts.
That was pre-slasher.
Yeah.
That whole 10 Little Indians thing probably hadn't been like established yet.
Oh no, 10 Little Indians had been established.
Well, in
and
slasher
then there were
movies,
none, but
like the whodunit aspect of slasher movies, I mean, like took from that, right? And that probably hadn't been established yet.
it just, I don't like the movie. I like watching Jimmy Stewart movies. I didn't like that one. I think he's great in The Rear Window. He's great in Vertigo. But yeah. Anyway, so now we can add Hitchcock movies to our list of things that sidetracked us. Sorry, Jess. Let's see here. We're going on to Children of the Corn Runaway. I didn't really find anything about this one either that seemed, I like this little girl shows up. I mean, you're like, she's killing people, and then surprise, surprise, at the end of the movie you find out that the little girl is actually this adult female that is the main character through the whole movie, and she's the one killing everybody. It's just,
so the twist here is that it's a female and not a male child.
Yeah. So
I got news for you guys.
Oh yeah,
Joe Soyson returns for this one, baby.
Oh good God,
2 in a row he did.
And they didn't make any more.
Genesis wasn't bad enough. They had to go with. Oh geez.
Oh, hold on. My bad. Screenplay by Joe Soyson. Different director, John Gallagher.
Here, you direct my.
Gallagher did that? Okay. It's Clue Son.
Executive producer Bob Weinstein.
That's probably why it's so bad.
I get that, getting a movie filmed and all that is very hard work, and we tend to shit on movies that we don't like all that much, but it's a fucking Children of the Corn movie. Make a fucking, if you're gonna have the title as Children of the Corn, go back, rewatch the first one, and make it a fucking Children of the Corn movie.
Well, I think that honestly, with stuff like this, it feels like to me, and this is a broad thing, it feels like they just kept making these movies even though the time had passed. Like, the reason that the first 2 are so fun, 2 and 3, I mean, the first 2 sequels are so fun, is because that was a time when cheap, kind of low effort movies were still fun, because even though the production company was not putting in effort, the directors and the special effects makeup guys low key were, because they were trying to have fun with it, make it fun. That's what you get from a lot of like Jeff Burr movies and stuff. And at this point, they don't even use practical effects anymore. All that is kind of just gone for whatever reason. And I don't know, it just feels like it wasn't the time for movies like this to be any good. They didn't do it anymore. You know what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying, but it's just, in my head, it's there should be some sort of a formula to specific movies. Like there's a certain formula to Nightmare on Elm Street movies that make them Nightmare on Elm Street movies. There's a certain formula to Friday the 13th movies that make them Friday the 13th movies. There should be a formula to Children of the Corn movies that make them Children of the Corn movies, not just, hey, we're going to film a fucking cornfield with a bunch of kids in it.
I think that is the
And then-
formula at this point.
Well, at this point, it's become that. But I mean, like,
Hey, let's take a random ass story, throw some corn in there. 'Cause, I mean, that's what it is, right? It's just random scripts that they turn into a corn movie.
Yeah.
So more than likely, the next Children of the Corn movie is going to be a concert video of the band Korn playing in a cornfield to a bunch of toddlers.
I
would watch that.
Yeah.
As long as they're playing like their early titles.
No,
Not-
this is a
none of this new shit.
This is a sequel to Children of the Corn, so it's got to be
Just
all new material.
Blind on a loop.
Yeah.
But is that Dimension Extreme, Chris?
No.
It's not extreme. So it is Dimension.
This is a generic DVD.
Dimension did put it out though, right?
Yeah, it is Dimension. It just didn't hit the extreme. This is actually Lionsgate.
Okay.
So what they
Lionsgate, I guess, swooped in and started releasing. Hold on here.
That's the
All
wrong
right, this
one.
is
Oh,
2010.
no, this is the right one. What they should have put was Dimension Extremely Bad.
Well, I mean, you know, we've heard horror stories working with the Weinsteins on some of these larger budget movies. Like, can you imagine? Like, they don't give a shit about anything that any of the creators care about, right? So
This is 2018.
Oh,
This cannot be
Run
from
Away?
2018.
Yeah.
I thought this was like
That
still
sounds
early
right.
2000s.
well, the next one,
2020.
the last movie and the second remake was made in 2020 and was actually released last year. So
Yeah, terrible. But
it is horrible.
and oh, it's a girl. We're gonna mix it up, and it's a girl again. It's so different.
Yeah, it's
Man, those Hollywood types are so creative, dude, and bold too.
Oh yeah.
they are bold. They were like, you see how bad this one was? We're gonna make this one twice as bad.
I actually have seen this one.
You have seen this one?
I kind of don't ever plan to watch it.
This one is just
Wish I hadn't.
it's
Oh,
not-
Big
very
Crack Rock.
forgettable, man.
Big Crack Rock is in here saying Soyson is actually a good director. So
Okay, I like Pulse. Okay,
I have Pulse 2, I think. I've never watched it. Maybe I'll pop it in and see what's up.
he may be a good director, but that was just a bad movie.
yeah, I
At
mean, it may
least-
not be his fault.
And I'm saying this from as I have not watched the movie, but just the from what I have seen of the movie, it's just it doesn't sound like a good movie. It doesn't sound like something I would want to sit down and watch. Yeah, there's just nothing. I say all this, and to my knowledge, there's no scenes of children cheering on teenagers fucking in these other ones. So, I mean, that's a plus. But yeah, but as far as this last movie, Jay, you said you've seen it. You didn't like it?
Directed by Kurt Wimmer. No, it's just a very forgettable movie. I don't really remember. I remember a few scenes from it that I remember it being really dark. Like it, you know, that trend of things being like so dark you can hardly tell what's going on. But yeah, that was the reason why it didn't come out when it was originally. It was made earlier, right?
Yeah, it was made in 2020, and then I believe the pandemic
Oh, okay.
delayed its release. But
Yeah, I don't think I'll ever even bother to see it. Maybe, but I don't think it'll happen.
If anybody wants to watch these, like the two remakes and the original, you can watch on YouTube for free. So that's actually how I watched them. So
I mean, I think those
I own the
straight,
first one, but the two remakes I watched on YouTube. So
like those early '90s straight to video ones are better than this one. I think
oh yeah.
they're more fun. That's for sure.
So all these, what is it, up to 6, I would rather watch any of the ones 1 through 6 than any of the ones after 6.
So if they ever make another one, which they don't do sequels anymore, so we're just going to get another remake every 2 years because of name recognition.
As long as they cast Christy Clark, she still looks good. Like, she still looks almost like she did when she did part 2. So
I mean, if we're gonna remake it, dare I say, let's remake Urban Harvest, flesh out, because like I said, man, I sincerely think the foundation was there. There were beats in the movie that I'm like, man, like that's actually like if they fleshed it out more. Because like there's this little thing where it's almost like if you had what's his name? Is it Joshua? Joshua, the main character? I think it's Joshua. Whatever.
Oh, his brother? Yeah.
Yeah. His name, he was like almost making out with his buddy's like sister. And then he like kind of like, because the friend was like, no, you're not kissing my sister, bitch. And so he kind of like pulls away from her, and then she goes through the cult. But if they had made it to where like him pushing her away into the cult, you know, I mean that like you could like make little tweaks like that, and like I think there's a lot there in that movie.
Like
honestly,
playing dumb, like what's first base? Oh shoot, what's a home run? I don't know. You know, show me. She was really hot too, and she did a bunch of like softcore porn before this movie.
Did she?
And went on to do some bigger stuff.
Huh. But yeah, let's remake.
She's just no Christy Clark.
Let's remake Urban Harvest instead of remaking the original. That's all
I'd
I'm
be
saying.
perfectly okay with that. I would seriously be perfectly okay with going back, starting at part 3 and remaking. Just as long as they make sense and they're connected and there's not this fucking this kid's born in 1964 and he was the leader. No, this kid was born in 1964 and they burned him alive and he was the leader. And
we're past that, Kory, man.
I
40 years past that.
Can't fucking let it go, man.
Hey, her name is Marie Morrow, and Kory, you may have seen her on One Life to Live.
I've never seen One Life to Live.
Oh, okay.
It was only Days of Our Lives.
But she was in.
Speaking of which,
same year she was. Sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I was actually gonna.
Are those shows documented? Like, can you go back and watch like One Life to Live anywhere?
I know if you go on YouTube and you type in Days of Our Lives season 1 episode 1, it will come up.
Is it like a VHS rip, like someone's personal copy?
I don't know. I've never actually watched it.
Yeah, I have to be, right? Like, you know, they probably didn't keep those negatives of that stuff. It was just shot on video, I would imagine, after a while.
I have no clue. I'm sure.
Oh yeah, those were shot on tape for sure.
I can tell you
weren't wasting film on that shit.
But 95, she was in Children of the Corn 3 and Virtuosity, which is a pretty big movie. She was in How to Be a Player, Dead Men on Campus, House Party 4, National Security.
I have House Party 4.
Dead Man on Campus is
Campus. That was the first Mark Paul Gosselaar project after Saved by the Bell, wasn't it?
Was it?
Yeah, I think so. It was an MTV movie.
That curly-headed fuck from American Werewolf in Paris.
And it's got that one dude.
You say that. I say the drummer from That Thing You Do.
Oh, okay.
It's got that one dude too, and his like best role maybe the guy from
the cop from Freddy vs. Jason.
Yeah,
I can't think of his name.
I had to watch that again. It's been a while.
I always go to the bodybuilder from Night at the Roxbury. That's my go-to when I refer to him.
That'd be a good one to do like a double feature with like Idle Hands or something.
I love Idle Hands.
Or I don't know. It was a few of those around that time that were like weed horror movies, I guess you'd call them.
Yeah.
Stoner horror.
Yeah, stoner horror. That's probably a better one.
Idle Hands being the best of those though. That's like a classic to me.
That is classic.
I watched that movie too much when it came out, so I'm kind of burned out on it. But
we rented it all the time, and I don't. It's one of those movies I don't think I could ever get sick of. Also, it's a Halloween movie, so it's a good time to watch it.
There were certain movies that I would go out and buy. It's like I'd get my paycheck, and I paid like $50 a week for rent. So that aunt I was telling you about. Oh, hold on, that aunt I was telling you about that would buy cable or have cable and everything. She had a basement apartment in her house, so she would rent it to me for $50 a week. So I'd have the same cable that she had. I'd had all the fucking shit, bells and whistles that she would get, internet, phone line, whatever, for $50 a week.
Oh yeah.
So my paychecks were like $250 a week. So I would go out, I'd save $50 back. I'd buy me some cheap food like Chef Boyardee tubs, like a box of shredded mini wheats, a gallon of milk, and a couple 6-packs of hooch. And that was my food for the week. And then
remember when you could eat like that and not feel like death the next day?
Oh yeah.
You could eat like that for like $20. Now it's like $150.
It was $20 a week. Like the Chef Boyardee tubs were cheap, but
are you talking about those little microwave ones with the lids? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'd get a bunch of the beanies and weenies, and I'd nuke those. Sit down.
No raviolis,
I'd buy like 4 or 5 movies a week. Go home. And if I really liked one of them, I'd watch it over and over. So
tortellini, the chili mac. Oh,
I stuck with the beanies.
I'm not big on the tortellini, dude. I need that fake meat paste, or it ain't. it ain't right.
I stuck with the beanies and weenies. Actually, now my wife buys the fucking generic SpaghettiOs and meatballs for me. So I'll eat a can or two of those before I have to go to work.
You like with meatballs or without?
With.
Gotta have
absolutely.
with.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Now, if we ever decide that we want to splurge, I'll just forget the SpaghettiOs and I'll just have her buy a big bag of meatballs, Italian meatballs.
Oh, and
I'll fucking nuke those motherfuckers, throw sliced cheese over it, pop it back in for 30 seconds, and then dump marinara sauce all over that. I'll eat like 30 of those in a sitting.
Dude, I went on a kick where I would just get those meatballs and I would throw them in the air fryer and just like eat them like popcorn chicken or something. Like, they're pretty good.
Make you like a meatball parm.
No, dude, I would just like fucking just dip them in barbecue sauce and eat them like a chicken nugget or something.
We're at the white trash segment of the show.
Hell yeah.
So Jess did leave me something he wanted me to play for you guys. So I don't know exactly how long this is. I guess it's just a few seconds. But just so Jess can say he made an appearance on the show. Here we go.
Oh, what is that?
That's a great charity app.
Beautiful, man.
That was actually when we made that trip to why can't I think of the name? Where the Field of Dreams is. That's actually the corn for the movie, or like the movie site or whatever set. Yeah. We went out and got to play catch with our kids, and unbeknownst to us, Dallas Braden, who is a former major league pitcher, was actually throwing batting practice to kids on the diamond. We were out in the outfield playing catch. And was
that dink you heard at their thing?
Yeah.
Dink.
Yep.
He's hitting dangers.
Yep. And actually, if I think we actually have still pictures of them, but it's when they were actually building the Major League Stadium on the other side of the cornfield for the Field of Dreams game when the White Sox and Yankees played. So we were actually there when they were building that stadium. But yeah,
that's cool.
Thought that was pretty cool. So,
Hey, do y'all want me to read the synopsis on the time's passed. Never mind.
no, you can.
Y'all were talking about the remake already.
No, that's fine. You can read the synopsis.
I
I
don't
was
know
going
if
to say,
it's
let's
good or
talk about
not.
Lunchables. Let's get a Lunchables discussion going.
This is going back to I haven't had Lunchables in a minute, dude.
Oh
No,
wow.
I thought about revisiting it because they have like new ones that I mean they're probably not new, but they're new to me, like meatball subs and shit.
Yeah. You know, Mr. Beast and the Paul brothers are doing a collab.
Yeah.
They're trying to compete with called Beastables or something like that.
Yeah.
Jake Paul might want to make sure he can eat through a
Jake
straw.
Paul's been eating too many of them, man. That boy's getting a belly on him.
I don't know, guys. I don't want to give those guys any of my money. Like I've never bought a Prime. Everybody was telling me Prime's delicious. Go try Prime. I don't want that dude to get any of my money, man.
It is delicious,
Like,
but I hate giving them money. Yeah,
those guys are like, I don't know.
They're being sued big time by the Olympics.
For what?
I forget whatever
logo thing.
No, they endorsed a player, some big NBA guy. I forget his name, but anyway, that guy went on to play in the Olympics, for the USA team. So Prime goes and puts the Olympic logo all over their crap, their bottles and stuff, and you can't do that. And you gotta pay for all that and go through a process. So they're getting the crap sued out of them by the Olympic Committee.
Maybe they'll get their ass reamed and lose a bunch of money.
I don't know. Maybe Jake Paul will do a bunch of steroids and get acne everywhere and get super fat. Oh, he's already done that.
Now he'll just start taking HGH and get one of those big pot bellies.
Have you seen it, dude?
Does he have one?
Have you seen him lifting lately? Oh yeah, big time.
I wouldn't be surprised, man.
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
You know that's from your organs actually just like growing disproportionately large. Like, that's crazy, man.
Doesn't sound good. But all those like bodybuilder guys are like that on the off season, then they go and drop all the weight and they lose the belly for the most part. Some of them
no, that's the HGH belly. That's like, I don't know if it's irreversible, but I think it is. That's actually your like the hormones are actually making your internal shit grow too big. It's not fat. It's like organs busting out, dude.
So is that what Eddie Guerrero did? Was just shoved the needle directly into his heart and injected him? Isn't that what he did? Was it him or Brian Pillman that died of an enlarged heart?
Pillman committed suicide, right? Am I wrong about that?
Hey, Kory, can you pull this up just real quick? Let me share it. Come on. Okay. Is it shared?
Oh, there it is. Okay.
Seeing that?
I thought he was playing with himself.
You see that, Chris?
Is that real or is that like
that's real?
Some deep fake shit.
No, there's plenty of other pictures of him like lifting that when he looks like that. He does like a completely fake. He does like 405 one time, and it's totally not real because the bar doesn't bend, but it's a good fake. Ugh.
I don't know, man. I
He's
don't know
on
about that.
man.
I don't know about that whole crowd, dude. Something about that whole crowd just doesn't rub me the right way.
Well, isn't their fan base like in their 20s now? So
yeah, probably.
Hey, I want to watch Jake Paul knock out some like old dude who's been retired for like 10 years. That sounds like fun. I'll pay like $50 for that.
I'm planning on watching that fight, but I don't believe we're paying for it. I believe somebody else is paying for it, and we're going to their house. So.
Well, I know a guy who's not paying for it, and I'll be going to his house.
If he looks like that when that fight happens, he's definitely getting his ass knocked out. So the synopsis. Do you still want to read it?
Oh, my bad. I got sidetracked by Lunchables.
Oh,
I do legit. I need to. I try not to eat garbage like that too much, but I eat it a lot, but like spread out.
There's nothing wrong with that. I come home.
But I need to.
I'll come home at night, and if we've got them in the fridge, I'll eat those and then get ready and go to bed. So, ham and Swiss.
Well, I want to try that new shit. They've got like
Did you try that new
meatball
shit?
subs and stuff. They're probably disgusting, but I gotta try them. All right, Children of the Corn's Runaway. Children of the Corn's Runaway tells the story of a young pregnant Ruth who escapes the murderous child cult in a small Midwestern town. She spends the next decade living anonymously in an attempt to spare her son the horrors that she experienced as a child. Ruth and her son end up in a small Oklahoma town, but something is following her. Now she must confront this evil or lose her child. That's the synopsis.
Runaway doesn't even have a clickable link on Wikipedia.
Special features, deleted scenes.
Oh,
So
Soyson didn't want to come back. Soyson didn't want to come back and have a conversation on this one.
Well, we actually made it through all 11 movies. Not too
We
shabby.
did. I mean, technically, I think on a technicality.
We talked about each and every movie. It may not have been completely in depth, but there's just not a lot to say. I mean, 11 movies and half of them are almost unwatchable.
Go watch the first three. That's the takeaway. That's all you need to see.
You can watch
The
the first three and then go back and just keep watching 2 on repeat.
all right. So apparently, Runaway was only pushed into production because Dimension was about to lose the rights to
Makes
the series.
So they
The last installment, Genesis, was 7 years prior.
Well, that's what they did with Hellraiser 2, right? That was like their little period where they were literally just making movies to keep rights.
Well, that's when they did Judgment at the same time, both filmed in Oklahoma.
Like probably at the
Otherwise,
same
it's
time,
bad.
right?
Yeah,
Like they literally,
same crew, I'm sure.
yeah.
Maybe
They
Somebody
same-
swapped
said
out sets and locations and just went.
That's the one with the fat pinhead, right?
That's Revelation.
Yeah.
Yeah, Fat Pinhead. I still haven't watched that one. I've
That's
heard some
good.
people say that it's watchable.
I made it through.
I
about
like a
5
lot of
minutes.
those later installments, man. I'm a big fan of that franchise.
I like
like,
the first 4 and then Hellworld.
Did you
I
see
like
the
them.
remake?
Deader and Hellworld they're good, man.
Did you see the remake, Kory, with the
Yeah, I
female?
did. I did.
Did you
It
like
was
that?
all right. I'm more of a fan. I didn't like the look of necessarily of the Cenobites. I like the Cenobites wearing leather, and I thought I felt like they were missing something.
Yeah,
I thought it was
a
a fine movie considering how many they made prior. You know,
it was good, but it was like I don't think about it ever.
It's
Like-
because it doesn't have a physical media release, does it?
I don't think so.
Well, I think that's probably why.
But the Cenobite designs were sick, but it's just like they didn't hardly show them. Like the reason you know they're sick is because you paused the trailer and analyzed it, not because they showed you. A lot of those shots were like real quick flashes. From my memory anyway, I felt like they didn't show enough of that.
And if you're interested in Hellraiser, we actually covered it, I think, in season 2. So
I remember that.
sure you go and check that out. Might have been season 3.
If you watch Children of the Corn 3, Urban Harvest, and Hellraiser, Hellworld. You'll have a fun night.
Because there was 7 years in between Revelations and Judgment, and there was 7 years between Genesis and Runaway. So they were doing both of those to keep the rights to the property. Which one's better, Children of the Corn or Hellraiser?
As a whole franchise?
Yeah,
I'd say
Hellraiser.
Hellraiser. Yeah,
That's easy. Hellraiser is just so cool.
But there's one thing Children of the Corn has that Hellraiser does not have. Christy Clark.
And they never went to the hood.
That is true.
And they don't have a corn.
Children of the Corn never went to space, so
you had to put a bug in the ear, man. Children of the Corn versus Hellraiser.
Hold up, no shit. A long time ago, I fucking had the concept for Children of the Corn in space. It writes itself, dude. It needs to be made. What is the first thing they're gonna do when they go to Mars or wherever? They're going to have to establish a fucking atmosphere.
Corn maze.
And how do you establish an atmosphere on a planet? You plant shit so that it produces oxygen from the carbon monoxide. That shit writes itself. They go to fucking Mars. They plant a bunch of crops, and one of them is corn in like a Total Recall style sector. And that fucking he who walks by the road shows up and fucks shit up. Like
it's a sequel to part 3. It's the corn from Eli.
Yeah.
There you go.
The super corn strain.
Super corn. It's the only one that'll grow there.
It's perfect because it's bad, dude. It writes itself, man.
We're giving these guys way too many ideas.
We need to buy the rights out and make this movie
because they're not doing it themselves.
Dude, we just wrote a better sequel than they've come up with since part 3.
That was actually a thought I was having. Was maybe we should we'll get through the first 6 and then we would come up with our own sequel. It's got to be better than what they did after that. So
I think we nailed it, man. I'm thinking like Ghost of Mars type.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Children of the Corn in space. Children of the Corn 7 in space.
It should have always happened, man.
The Children of the Corn 4 in space.
I mean, they started the Goes to the Hood. It needed to get in space.
I think Leprechaun's the only one that's done both, isn't he?
Critters.
But they came from outer space.
That's true. But they did technically do it.
They went to the Hood in 3? You're calling part 3 the Hood one?
I mean, yeah, it's a stretch maybe. But it is a pretty rundown inner city apartment complex. So
it's a good movie.
Yeah. I like all of them.
2's my favorite.
Well, I still haven't watched Critters Attack.
Is that the series or the movie?
The movie. I haven't watched the series either.
It's better. That's better than the series, in my opinion.
I've heard though that they use CGI, and I feel like that's like just so a no for me that it'll piss me off, even if it's just a little bit. I'm like, you could have just used a critter for that, you know?
You could absolutely use a critter for that. I mean, special effects are not that expensive. I think it's just the fact that it's time consuming. They'd rather just move on, fix it in post. We'll put it in there later.
Yeah. With laziness.
Yeah, with laziness. Exactly.
Yeah. It's a shame, man, because it's like one of my favorite like crafts, and it's coming back in the indie scene. Have you
seen that fan? It's not a movie. It's just like a little short.
Yeah, you showed me that.
The Bounty Hunter.
Yeah, you showed me that.
Isn't that cool? Yeah. I thought it was great, man.
You know what we didn't talk about? Apparently, there was a short film for Children of the Corn. before the original. Was it like Disciples of the Crow or some shit
I
like
think
that?
I think that's right.
That's a sick ass name too, dude.
Disciples of the Crow.
Never did see it, but I do remember them saying something about it. So
they also made Sharks of the Corn. Do we count that?
I actually seen that cover.
As fuck.
Was it any good?
No, I just seen the cover. I didn't see the movie.
The cover's dope.
I think I'd
go out on a limb and say it's not any good.
I typed.
You're probably right.
And...
You're probably right, but you never know with shark movies because sometimes they're good. Like, have y'all seen Santa Jaws?
No.
That's a banger.
Santa Jaws. Yeah.
Santa Jaws.
There's a lot of those. Those damn shark movies are very hit and miss, man.
Extremely. And mostly misses.
Mostly miss, yeah. But
every once in a while, they'll come out with a good one.
Like the 12-headed shark attack or whatever the hell it's called.
But then like Ghost Shark, I think that's another one that's pretty good.
What's the one where it's like it turns into electricity and he gets like in the phone lines and stuff? That one's good.
That's probably like Shark Exorcist or something. Right?
Yeah.
So many shark movies, it's impossible to keep up with. Toilet, wasn't there a toilet shark or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did they ever do
we need Dan here, man.
Sharks on a Plane?
Dan's seen every one of these movies.
Yeah.
So I did ask Dan because there's a kind of a recurring joke on this show that what's the porn parody to this? And I did ask him when we were not streaming one night. So what's the porn parody to this? He didn't even know, I don't think so. I think he said that there are some.
There.
Yeah, but you have to take out children, dude.
Yeah.
That's true. My bad.
You can't say children of the porn. You have to make children the wordplay or it just doesn't sound good. You know what I'm saying? So what's a pun on children that you
can't have children in there at all? Yeah, that's a good point.
Nah, you gotta get rid of that.
You'd have a bunch of weirdos trying to rent that thing.
I can't think of one. I'm sure it's there somewhere, but
nubile lesbians of the porn.
Yeah, I mean they would probably make like lesbians of the corn or something.
Of the corn.
Well, on that note, I think about time to wrap this up. We actually made really good time. We did it. We made it through all 11 movies. And that includes the two starts, the not real one and then the real one. So I just want to say thank you to Big Crack Rock, Ben Grimm, Blu-rays, Swaggy G, Brian Trash. I didn't even see he was in the chat there. Dan Shine, Blu-rays. I think I already said maybe. I don't know. I'm getting old, guys.
Crack Rock supports Toilet Shark, by the way.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's got to be better than.
Yeah, it's probably better than several of the Children of the Corn movies.
I bet the fact that children is in that title is the reason why that never got made.
Yeah,
it's a good possibility.
I mean, there's got to be a pun somewhere. It's
the only thing I could come up with is porn in the corn, but
milking in the corn. That's the closest I can think to stroking on the corn.
Oh God,
I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna quit now.
All right. So on that note, Chris, you got anything coming up?
Yeah, I've been dropping those Halloween television episode guides on the channel. So check that out if it sounds like something you'd like. And retrocryptco.com.
Uh,
Go get your horror collectibles and shirts and hats.
you wanna plug your YouTube channel? The name?
Oh yeah, Slasher on Video. Sorry.
Well, you've got Child of the Corn on the screen there. So
Here, hold up.
there we go. Jay, what about you? You got anything coming up? You and Cole doing anything?
Yeah, Cole and I may do some stuff. Stay tuned to the movie discussion Pocket Dimension on YouTube. We're kind of like at a point where it's so hard for us to both get access to the same stuff. It's kind of hard to find something to watch, but we're working on it. And I'm Jaythestingray everywhere. I may be doing Ernest Scared Stupid on Wednesday the 30th, the commentary. I may do a little bit earlier so we can incorporate some other people in the group here, because I know the late night hangs are kind of hard for everybody to make. But yeah, trying to get back on track. I just can't get in the mood. So maybe the Halloween season will get me there. So
It's hard sometimes, man.
I'm in a funk, man. I'm just not in the mood. I like hanging out with you guys. I just don't like doing things, you know.
Yeah, it's a lot of even if you try to make it like pressure free, it's still just pressure, man, and that shit wears on you. Sometimes you need breaks.
Yeah. I've been on a break for this whole year pretty much. So
Well, Jess and I are planning on being back again next month. Hopefully before then, I will be releasing season 2, episode 1 of Kory's Dead Time Gories. So got a fun little story. It's already wrote. Just waiting on the finishing touches for the artwork, and then I just have to sit down and record it. So
very cool.
I hope you guys like it. It's very much in the same vein as the Bloodstained Bears story. So it is not a Bloodstained Bears story, but it's something similar. So on that note, thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys in a month.
Hey.